So, with microaggressions, there are different types, but the most common definition of the general term microaggression is offered by Daryl Sue, and colleagues. And microaggressions are subtle, everyday comments, questions, or actions that express bias and prejudice towards marginalized groups, often unintentionally. That's kind of where we got the title. Did that just happen? Because it's one of those things that make you pause, like, did they really say what I think they said? Or did they mean what I really think they might have meant with that comment? So it microaggressions tend to have that impact on you. If you ask yourself, did that really happen? Chances are it's probably a microaggression that you're dealing with. So there are different layers of microaggressions. There are microassaults, which are very explicit. This is the use of derogatory or other behaviors such as name calling, intentionally avoiding someone, not wanting to interact with anyone, and then really intentional, purposeful discrimination. Micro insults are those that are rude and insensitive, and they tend to be kind of those nice tea comments, nice, nasty. And one example is, "Oh, you're so articulate." Um, yeah, that's one that I've experienced quite a bit, and it always rubs me the wrong way. And then there are micro invalidations. The comments or actions that negate or minimize thoughts, feelings, or experiential reality. So, someone saying to you, "Oh, well, um, you shouldn't be offended. I have Black friends," or "I'm not racist, and you shouldn't have taken it that way." So, just kind of someone basically saying you're wrong for what you're feeling and experiencing. And now that we have some common language, let's get into why we're really here. So, microaggressions tend to have significant impact. I tend to call them death by a thousand cuts. And what I mean by that is that there is such an overwhelming number of times that you have to deal with this in a day. Anyone who has an identity that has been marginalized, or anyone who's experienced being disenfranchised, understands that those identities, especially if they're visible, tend to be the target of microaggressions, micro insults, micro validations, and micro assaults as well on a daily basis. And that impact affects your mental health, and that also affects your physical health. If we think of holistic health, we know that mind, body, spirit are connected. So one impact or one threat to one aspect of self impacts all aspects of self. It threatens your sense of belonging. You feel like an outsider, even in a place where you are intended to be and should be. When you experience a microaggression, it makes you question whether or not this is a place for you to be and if it's a safe place for you to be. It can impact your performance and your level of engagement. Many of us are familiar with imposter syndrome. I myself have experienced it and still struggle with it. And a lot of that has to do with the microaggressions that I've experienced as a counselor educator over the past 10 years and working in predominantly white institutions and navigating predominantly white spaces. So it makes you question not only who you are, but what you can bring to the table. And then microaggressions also perpetuate this inequity, this system of oppression. They continue to perpetuate um, the sense of not sense, the experience of marginalization and disenfranchisement. And it again threatens the very existence of who you are, your personhood, your sense of belonging to a specific community. And the other thing that I'd like to mention is when folks say that the system is broken, I will always counter with no, the system works the way it was designed to work. And microaggressions are a part of that system.